Hello. Let's begin our discussion of Singapore taxation, a completely a completely new domain even for me. I have taught UK tax extensively. I have taught Indian tax also, but yes, this is my first time doing Singapore tax, and I'm very, very excited because finally I'm doing something that I know, yet something which is very, very new. So let me take you to the exam window first because I want to familiarize you with the exam pattern and how things are tested. Okay, so let's begin. Your Singapore taxation exam would be a 100 marks exam, and naturally, of course, you need a total of 50 marks to clear. The pattern of this paper is quite different as compared to the other skill level papers that you have seen. Your section A, as you can see on your screen, will have 15 objective type questions of 2 marks each, coming to a total of 30 marks. And you will have section B, which has 6 constructed response questions that may contain a scenario which relates to one or more requirements. Each constructed response question is worth 10 or 15 marks in total, and that would be a total of 70 marks. Now, if you take a moment to observe, this is your examination window, and you have a very important tool at your disposal, which is the tax tables. So these tax tables, these are just worth 3 pages. These tax tables contain all the updated rates that will be given to you in your exam, and you don't necessarily have to remember most of those rates because those are given to you. Okay, now having looked at the section A questions, I would want to show you section B questions, which are which will take this form, where you will have a basic data which is followed by a descriptive question. There will be multiple such descriptive questions in your exam, each carrying different number of marks. 10 or 15, is the number that we are looking at. A question could either be worth 10 marks or it could be worth 15 marks. And to clear the exam, you need to score 50. Now, the Singapore taxation exam, basically, let's have a look at what our syllabus area looks like, or and how exactly is the exam going to test us. Now, if I look at the syllabus area of the Singapore tax paper, there are 5 syllabus areas, 5 out of which I think 4 are critical. The last one is more on, technology skills and that part. The first part is the Singapore tax system and administration, which contains basics about how does the Singapore tax system look like, what are the limits for, chargeability of income, what is the administration procedure, where do you derive the laws from, and how these processes work, what are some of the procedural aspects that a taxpayer needs to keep in mind, the specific activities with respect to inquiries, appeals, disputes, and all of that. Our focus will then shift to taxation of individuals, where we'll be talking about income from employment, income from self-employment, property and investment income, the calculation of total income, and the calculation of the final tax liability. After having studied individuals, we'll move on to a discussion of corporates, where we'll understand how taxation of companies is done, and we'll also be looking at the goods and services tax. Now, the goods and services tax part, the indirect tax part in your paper, could be, of course, there are compulsory questions that come from this part of the syllabus, and by devoting around 4 to 6 hours in your overall preparation journey, you can be assured of a preparation which guarantees you around 20% marks in the paper. So the GST part in your syllabus is very, very important. Not that the others aren't, but for others, you still have to study a fair bit. Here, you don't have to study that much of a quantity. You just need to learn a couple of points, a couple of procedures, and you are done. Now, what we'll be looking at is the book that you so kindly shared with me. This is, our focal point for the Singapore tax exam preparation. As you can see, there are 11 topics, and we'll be looking at of course, the goods and services aspect of taxation first. With this in mind, I would also want to let you know that in your practice exam window, we'll be doing a couple of questions from the Singapore tax variant sample papers and past papers that we'll be looking at. So the past exam library, these have adapted questions. By adapted questions, I mean these are questions of that year, but the tax rates that are applied are from the current year. So you can definitely refer these. This gives us a good library to prepare the questions from. Now, if I were to take you to the study material, we start with an introduction to Singapore tax. We move to concept of income, tax deductions, capital allowances, taxation of companies, individuals, partnerships, non-residents, and foreign income. This is where the individual part ends, followed by a discussion on goods and services tax and the stamp duty. Now, the stamp duty discussion is again linked with taxation of individuals, but it can be treated as a separate topic all by itself. The GST part, of course, is supremely important, as I said, and we'll be starting our discussion of Singapore tax from the GST bit. Okay, now all these lectures will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. I will be sending you the link. All you have to do is you have to keep on referring to the recordings and the lectures, and your job is done. We'll be starting with Singapore GST as the first topic.